It's a delight to welcome into our studios the, I hesitate to say new coach because she really isn't new at all, but in terms of head coaching, Amy Eagan is new to the Drury Lady Panthers, taking over for Molly Miller, although you were Molly's assistant last year, so you know the team well. Amy, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Lean in just a little bit toward the microphone. There we go. Amy is a Truman State product, but she's coached all around and had a pretty doggone good winning career. But you came down here to Drury August. I think I'm correct on this. August a year ago.
Yes. Yeah. It was August a year ago. It was late in August, and a decision where a really kind of rough time to make a decision too with stuff, just because school's starting up and a lot of the coaching changes tend to happen a little bit earlier where you have some time to get settled, and it was kind of a whirlwind of get down here, get going, and just jump right in type stuff. So it happened really, really fast. Did you have
an easy time acclimating yourself to this area?
Yes, I did. Springfield's great. I mean, you talk about just the community and their investment in sports and basketball and how much they love basketball down here. And I just love the area. It's outdoorsy and there's plenty of stuff to do, and but it's not overly big as well. There's it's just kind of got the right mix of kind of the city with the country type stuff, and so I love it. So it was easy to make that trip down here. Obviously, being familiar with Missouri already and a lot of the surrounding schools, I think it made that transition really easy.
Well, it's rewarding to hear you extolling the virtues of our area down here. But I am a little bit curious. You had been head coach at Truman State. Now, to come down here as an assistant coach, what kind of a change in mindset was that for you? And what about your motivation in coming down?
Right. I think first, coming down here was a decision that I thought in some way or another could further my basketball coaching career, whether that was if Coach Miller, having so much success, decided to leave with possibly an opportunity of already being here and having head coach experience and having successful head coaching experience, stepping into the role of head coach here, or even possibly going with her to that next level if she decided to leave. So when you look at kind of the overall positives of the decision to come down here, it was a no-brainer in regards to that. So again, late in the year, and a very hard decision because of my connections at Truman and playing at Truman and those kind of things, and the success we were having at Truman, but a no-brainer in regards to what I wanted to do with my coaching career and furthering my coaching career. And coming down here at that time of the year, like I said, it's you go from a head coach to assistant coach. I was very thankful that Coach Miller let me have help out and have a lot of say in some things that we did and really contribute and try to add some value to stuff. And I think that's hard to do, especially coming in late. But we had a relationship before coming down here, and she kind of knew my system and what I ran and some X's and O's stuff. And for her and she, I think as a head coach, you're always wanting to continue to grow too and learn. And I think she was in that boat, that she was willing to, if she could learn anything, learn that. But also obviously knew what she wanted to do with her program, X's and O's and all those kind of things too. So it was a good opportunity for me to learn the system down here, which has been so highly successful, and all the great things she did, and to learn how they did it and some of the details that you don't see when you're on the other side of it. And then also the opportunity to take over a program and be at a school that has great academics and great people surrounding the program, and just a tradition of success.
Does that style that she had differ greatly from what your coaching philosophy is?
I've always been a coach that, I don't think, you can always just say, hey, this is how we do it. This is the only way we're going to do it. We're going to win or lose that way. Like for me, it's about, making sure that we put our kids as individuals and as a team in the best position to be successful. I think the style of play that she ran, obviously she had a lot of success with it, and it takes the right kids to have that success with it. And it's fun for the kids to play in. It's fun to coach. The fans love it. So, why wouldn't I want to learn that and continue that? And we will definitely try to do that, and recruit to that style of play as we go.
Well, when Molly made the decision to move on to Grand Canyon out in Phoenix, and the burden was almost immediately, if not literally immediately, placed on your shoulders. You knew, hey, Amy Eagan, this is going to be a tough road to hoe because you've got a team that was undefeated and a possible national champion and all that sort of thing. What went through your mind?
Yeah, and that's one of the first questions I was asked is how do you feel about following Molly Miller, the highest winning coach in basketball right now, and it is. I mean, obviously, I think that could go one or two ways for a lot of people. They could be scared off by it, and they always even say don't ever follow the GOAT. Don't be the next one to do that. But for me, and being down here and just again knowing even the tradition of the program and who I am as a coach and the values that I could bring and the positives I could bring to the program, I felt very, very comfortable with it. And even being here last year, just getting to know the kids, and getting relationships and forming relationships with them. I know it's going to be a challenge, obviously, to continue to do what she did. But I feel like we have the values and the work ethic to make those things happen.
When you take a look at your roster, what is the ratio of individuals from last year's team? And incidentally, are any of them eligible to come back, even though they had been seniors?
Yeah, so we've got about half, not quite half, but almost half the team back from last year. So we still have a lot of experience back. And those kids that are returning, and all of them are I mean, we have some younger kids, obviously, but the ones that were impact players for us last year, I think you talk about returning a lot of experience. Kids that got a lot of minutes, that understand the culture and what it takes to be at that level and win championships. I think we've added a few pieces that will also help us with the graduation of, just some phenomenal players and phenomenal kids too. But I think a majority of what I would say we have back, we have a lot of experience back. That makes it pretty easy.
When you take a look at the overall scheme of things, Drury's team was nothing short of outstanding last year. Number one in the nation, maybe headed for a national championship. You're out on the court getting ready for, I guess, maybe was it the conference tournament or the regional tournament?
NCAA.
Yeah. It was a regional. You're in the regional. Game. You're out there. Where were you personally when that decision was reached?
The crazy thing is, you're 32-0 and you're getting ready to play the first game of the NCAA tournament you're hosting, and you hate for however it ended for everyone. You hate that, but we were all together. We were actually in practice all together, and so I'm really thankful for that because it was a really hard day for our kids. And you can only imagine, and not just them, like I said, but every other kid in America. I know there were some kids in the NCAA tournament from other teams that were in their hotel rooms that saw it first on like Twitter and social media. So we were all together. We were in practice, and just thankful that we got to spend time, that time together at that point to really talk about it. And to help each other out and guide each other through that time. That
had to have been a rocky time, not just emotionally, but in the overall scheme of life, because Drury wasn't the only team affected, obviously. Everybody was, but to be 32-0 and headed for perhaps a national championship, I think it would have been a national championship. Mm-hmm. I know you all do too.
Yeah.
But the tears had to flow. They had to be, because that's just a gut-wrenching time.
Yeah, it was, and They were flowing from the players, from the staff, from top to bottom, and we try as coaches to find positives in everything that's hard for our kids and to help guide them. But it was a really tough day for everyone.
Amy, you think back to then and you think, boy, that was last March. It's still affected.
And we all thought it was going to be gone, probably by. They said when the hot weather hits, it's going to disappear.
It got worse.
It got worse, and now it's still here.
And to that end, I hate this too, the Mizzou Georgia game's off for this Saturday too. They just scrubbed it. So it continues. Now, first of all, how has your life been affected? And number two, how's the schedule been affected?
Yeah. Obviously, in when you look at the big scheme of things, you have to keep reminding yourself too that the most important thing is the health and safety of everyone. even when decisions have to be difficult or you have hard days. And, the biggest thing is it just changes every day. Like, whether it's, how you handle if somebody's positive or how you handle quarantine, it's always just changing. So, being adaptable with this has been just really, really important for us as a staff and us as a program. I told our kids, just even from the beginning, when we met, like, I really believe that the team that can stay the most focused through this because of all the adversity and can stay the most positive through this because of all the adversity is going to be the team at the end that comes out. Our kids have just handled it phenomenal, and we've had some really hard days, and we're just finding the positive in all those days and just working, whether it's we have 7 at practice or we have a full team at practice to get as much done as we can to help us grow and help us develop. So it has been definitely hard and different. But our kids are handling it like champs.
Amy, one of Drury's all-time greats, and I mean that quite literally, will not be with the team. Haley Distelkamp, she has exhausted her eligibility and all that. How, as a coach, do you work around missing a superstar of that caliber?
Right. And it's different. It's definitely, we ran a lot of stuff for Haley last year, whether it's plays or situations. And she just made a lot happen because of, like you said, one of the best players to ever play. And so finding ways and really getting your kids to understand that, like, without comparing to last year, because you don't want to compare. Every year's different. You don't want your kids to feel like, they're not, they're not as good because we lost Haley and Deja and those kind of things. But what they have to realize is we're just different. And we've got to do some things better than we had to do last year, or we got to do some things different than we had to do last year in order to make up for some of the things that Haley and Deja and Lauren and Brooke and all those kids did for us. And our kids have been really open to that and very confident in understanding those things. And, I think they're excited. I said this about even Emily Parker and Isaiah Lynch. And, last year, those kids were really, really great role kids. And that's what we needed them to be. But I think both those kids have even more in their game. And I think for them, they're really excited because now they're going to have some opportunities to showcase that a little bit more than they had. So for them, it's exciting. For us as a program, we're on an everyday basis, which we should, no matter what year it is we're figuring things out and putting us in the best situation to be successful.
Amy Eagan is the head coach of the Drury Lady Panthers. You will be playing as we speak before no fans, but that might change.
Yeah,
at least we hope
praying,
it does.
We're confident. We're hoping. Right now. So we're scheduled to start November, at the end of November, which just, again, excited about that, because there's a lot of Division I schools and some Division II schools that aren't starting till January. And we've got a long road ahead of us. And again, who knows with the cancellations as things have been, but we're excited to play in January with stuff. Or in November. They are going to sit down, I think, and here come January, get through this first semester. Come January, beginning of January, revisit that as a conference, because it's not an NCAA rule, it's a conference rule. And possibly, hopefully, I'm praying that we get that changed, at least for the parents.
Coach, what about parents of the players? Mm-hmm. Do they get to come?
As of now, no.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. And we were really kind of hoping for that. At least if we didn't have to have fans, allow them to come.
Sure.
But they have said they're going to re-look at that on January 3rd. So until January 3rd, we won't.
So when is your first date? And these will be conference games. When's the first one?
Yeah, November 27th.
Okay.
So we'll play on the road at UMSL, and then we'll go. We play Thursdays, Sundays typically, Saturdays typically, but this will be a Friday because of Thanksgiving, a Friday, Sunday on the road. So all conference games, which, these girls at least are used to being ready to go from the start, because if you're playing for regional hosting and those kind of things, you have to be ready to go from the start. So they know the mindset that it takes to start out with conference in November, and they're ready for it.
All right, we're talking about the future. Let's talk about the past. I'm going to just jog your memory. This is recent memory now.
Oh, no.
I'm over there sitting with where I sit at Drury games, and Drury is playing your alma mater, Truman State, playing Truman State in the game, and all of a sudden, the game stops. The referee goes over to the score stand and says, "What in the hell is this all about?" And they're sitting there talking, and it stopped for a good 10 minutes. Somewhere around there, I see Dan Cashel go all the way down to the other end, and what is going on? Finally, about half an hour later, I find out the bus driver got tossed. Yeah. He was giving the...
Oh, you're kidding.
Now, did you, number one, know the bus driver?
Yeah, I did. He's awesome.
You did.
He's an awesome guy. Yeah, I mean, we were sitting there as a staff and going, like, what in the world is going on down there? Like, we had no clue what was going on. I guess he got a little wordy with the refs down there. So, it was crazy. Don't think that, I didn't text him and give him some crap about that afterwards.
It was
sure.
the guy was sitting. There's a tunnel at the far end. Let's see, that would be the south end.
Yes, south end.
The south end. And there's very few people down there. The teams are on that side. But I noticed that guy. I didn't think anything about it, but I noticed he did a 180 and out of there.
Yep. And we didn't know till after the game, as a staff, what had happened. We were, I just remember Molly and all of us, or maybe it was even halftime, but we were like, what in the world happened? Because it was just like, stop, and it got quiet, and I guess it got taken care of, and then we were,
That is, this is so similar. I went to, Mark Stillwell and I both went over to Parkview when Blake Ahern was coaching at DeSmet about however many years ago, which hadn't been many, at Parkview. All of a sudden in the middle of the game, and there's not a huge crowd, the game stops. Well, they never announce, we've got an issue here. But finally they're over to talk to the table. Then they go over to the bleacher area, and Blake's father and somebody else tossed. But they didn't say over the sportsmanship is key, be doing this. Amanda and another one had just been ejected. They were put out of the Parkview gym, and they never had to explain it, but we saw it.
I don't know this as a fact. I should, but I don't. There might be a rule about that because Jester is never at a loss for words. Never. And he never said a thing. Not a thing.
Because they don't tell. They don't come and tell him. Normally, he would have gone ahead and said something. That's weird.
Yeah.
I tell you, I got to laughing about that. One of the players on the Truman State team is a kid from Glendale. The Pinkston girl.
Yeah.
So, and I know her dad real well, a good guy. And so, hey, did somebody get tossed? What is this thing?
Our driver.
It was a great scene, though, in a perverse way.
Yeah. I've got a question about your games. What about, have you pushed the issue of local television, even on Mediacom or whomever, and one of the other stations for your home games?
Right. So all of our home games, I know, will be broadcast live on the GLBC Sports Network, which is internet-based with it. And we will have radio, and as you guys know, and all that. I don't know about any local radio or local TV right now, and we haven't talked about that. So I'm assuming they're just going to keep it probably live on the internet.
But you'll have the games on the internet. Now, is Ed Beach going to be able to go with the team or whomever live to do the games?
I don't know. I think they're still working through all those logistics, and we haven't gotten a lot of that stuff yet because I think I think they want to wait till it gets a little bit closer, so they're not making decisions and then having to go back and redo the work to revamp it and those kind of things. But so we haven't, but I know they're working on it. We haven't gotten all the details with how it's going to work with traveling and all that kind of stuff, but I know they're working on it.
It's all so new, and we have no map to follow or anything like that. While we have here for a few more minutes, Amy, tell the folks a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in coaching.
Yeah. So I grew up in Shelbina, Missouri, which is a very small town.
There you go.
By Hannibal, Missouri. And so grew up there, went on and played at Truman State 4 years there, and then graduated and went overseas and played in Norway for a year. Came back and got an assistant job at Quincy University. I was there which is in our league.
Sure.
Wasn't at that point, or I guess it was, but Was there for 4 years as an assistant coach and had some great success. Just worked under a phenomenal man that really knew how to win with kids on and off the court. And I think he gave me such a great core to who I wanted to be and how I wanted to do things as a coach. After that, went on and was a head coach for 2 years at St. Ambrose University, which is at NAIA. So it was my first head job. Had some great success there. Actually got out of coaching after 2 years, and that's a long story for another time. And then had the opportunity to get back in at a school in the same league as St. Ambrose, and it was a different situation there, being a complete rebuild program. Was there for 3 years. Truman State opened up. Had the opportunity to go back to Truman State. Was there for 6 years as a head coach. Had some really good success there as a head coach, and then obviously came down here.
Shelby is South Shelby, isn't it? South Shelby High School.
South Shelby Ladybird.
They're traditionally in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Were they pretty good teams when you were playing for them?
Yeah, my 4 years we lost 11 games total. So
total of 11.
Yeah, we were really, really good. Had some great coaches. Some great talent. Like I look at the talent we had, and I was like, man, compared to
That's great.
Yeah, we were very lucky with that.
Coach, isn't that Norm Store's hometown?
Mm-hmm.
He's North Shelby.
Yeah,
He's
one
Shelbyville.
I never can remember which one it is.
Yeah.
And he was always proud. He would bring it up.
Yep.
A lot of big occasions. He said, for an old boy from Shelby or North Shelby, he never hid that. I love to hear that about North.
Yeah.
Now that you've been a head coach for about, since Molly left, now you still haven't coached your first game yet, how has Amy Eagan's life changed?
It's been busy, and I was busy before. And, obviously, anytime you're an assistant coach is completely different than being a head coach. When you talk about just everything, the amount that you think about what your program needs, and if it's radio, if it's TV, if it's boosters, all that kind of stuff. So going from an assistant to a head coach, it's been a lot different, just with thinking and those kind of things with it. I'm used to being a head coach, and I know even when I was at Truman, I'm back to kind of that stuff, with some late nights, sleepless nights, thinking about stuff, and trying to make sure you're putting your kids in your program in the best position. But it's been similar to when I was there, but a little bit more busier in regards to some of the other things outside of the program with the boosters and obviously this kind of stuff.
Are you the kind of coach who wakes up in the middle of the night, I've got the key play that's going to...
Or something like that.
I gotta write some stuff down sometimes because otherwise, it's crazy.
One thing that has really changed, and I'm sure it's in effect in Division II, I think, is it still dead period?
So we are different than Division I is still in a dead period. Right now we are in a quiet period. So we were actually able to.
So you didn't have to go do those. I thought that's probably what you didn't have to do.
So summer was dead for us, and then when school started out, we got to a point where we could actually go out. So we were able to go out and watch some high school stuff. And meet with some, high school kids and that kind of stuff with it.
But isn't this the first day of signing?
Today's the first day of signing, so we're signing 5 today.
5 of them. Yeah. Are you at liberty to tell us who they are, or do we have to wait till they sign?
I can only tell you one right now because she has it in, and so
they got to have their letter of intent in their hands, and you can say
it. Yep. And Anna Hitt was the first one from Ozark High School to sign with us, and she's right now the only area kid. And the other 4 will be released sometime today.
When do you, traditionally, when do the letters of intent come in? And is it faxed in? Is that how they come in?
Yeah, they can do it so many different ways now. Yeah, so a lot of them will take pictures of it and text it and send it in, or take pictures of it and email it, or some of them still fax. Not very many of them, but some of them.
It used to be, though, because you'd wait and say, well, I sent it so-and-so by mail, and they don't get it. This is so much better.
Yeah, we tell them, don't send it by mail. Like, just take a picture of it and send it to us, or, fax it to us, whatever works best. Some of them will scan it and email it, so.
But you are planning on 5 of them, five players.
Yeah.
And then you lose how many after this year?
Well, we're losing 6.
But they can all return if you should.
If they wanted to return, they could. That's the crazy thing about all of it. But our kids are so far ahead academically, a lot of them, and are, have put themselves in that position. Some of them are double majors, some of them are majors, 4 minors. Like, because they have the ability to do that with taking some summer classes and that some of them and a lot of them are prepared to go ahead and move on.
Amy, this has been a delight. Thank you very much for coming in to visit with us. I know that it may be a bit of a rocky road, not in terms of the games, but in terms of whether or not they're ever going to play.
Yeah.
That it may take some adjusting to do, but I think you're probably ready for it.
Yep. Thank you very much. Our kids are ready to play.